Okay, I will call the meeting to order. It is Monday, August 8th, 2022, 7 p.m. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for roll call, we have everybody here except for Councilman Julie Pine, who is not available this evening. The first thing I'd like to do is welcome Mary Tomnitz. She is our past city clerk treasurer and has once again returned. So welcome, Mary. Look forward to working with you. Okay, so our agenda is before us. I do have two items that we need to add because they were missed earlier unintentionally. I need to add them under new business. The first one, item number 9, we will list as consider conditional use permit for 418 West Street. And the next item we'll list as item number 10, and it is consider CUP for 855 River Street. So, agenda, anything else that anybody needs to add to the agenda? Then with that, do I have a motion to approve our amended agenda? By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda, anything that anybody needs pulled off for discussion?
Nothing that needs to be pulled off. I just
Okay.
want to make a point and acknowledge that the CEO or financial secretary for the Knights of Columbus for the lawful gambling permit is myself. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. I'm certainly willing to recuse myself if necessary, but.
Could we hear the volume a little
Yeah.
bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The volume?
for once.
It's going right into the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you try to go
Here.
Did you try again without causing it to screech? Sorry about that. What Troy was saying is that he is the president of the Knights of Columbus?
Financial secretary.
Financial secretary, so he's concerned, the council might say you've got a conflict of interest with the one item on the agenda, which is the Knights of Columbus lawful gambling. I don't see any conflict of interest. You're not making any money off from this.
No, I'm not making it.
Not a thing, so, okay. And we'll wait for the volume to get adjusted here.
Tested.
Testing.
Is it testing? We've got to get this system fixed.
Unbelievable.
I'm gonna power off, and I'm gonna power on.
Should be the switches up,
Hang on, everything is up.
okay?
Tapping works.
Yeah.
Tapping Morse code.
Yeah, I cannot. Can you? Oh, okay.
If it starts to squeal, we can turn it down, but that's as far as it
Is
can
this
go.
as far as it goes? Is that any better? Not really. I see head shaking. No, we're gonna have to do the best we can to speak as loud as we can. So, people don't usually have a problem hearing me. So, okay, consent agenda is before us. There are no changes. We've got kind of an acknowledgement of the involvement with the Knights of Columbus, which for the record, nobody has a concern with. So the consent agenda for this evening is the permit for the Knights of Columbus, the minutes for July 11th of 2022, our staff reports, commission and board reports, correspondence, approval of claims and payroll. So with that, do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So moved.
By Ross, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And we're on to the next item, which is our public forum. And the first one I have here is Kevin Schuman, and it says elections. So you want to join us and speak loudly into the microphone, which isn't working? Welcome,
Thank you.
it's all yours.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to serving as an election judge tomorrow. And I know that on the agenda tonight is the approval of resolution 220801
There we go.
to appoint the election judges.
Yes.
And it makes reference to whereas Minnesota statute 204B.21 subdivision 2 requires election judges for precincts in a municipality to be appointed by the governing body of the municipality. I went and I looked at that statute, and also in that statute, it says that the also in that in that statute, in that
That's good.
subdivision, it also states that appointments shall be made at least 25 days before the election at which the judges will serve. And so I just didn't know if that was an oversight or whatever, but I just wanted to draw it to your attention just so that in the future, that 25 days notice could be taken care of. I do have copies of it. If you'd like, I can give it to city council members or.
Mary would be great.
Councilor Ray.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
And then also just in getting the notice for the election judges, that notice came on August 1st. And it also is that the judges should be notified the 25 days before that. And then just a question, just for clarification. On the schedule for judges, I noticed that Mary is also serving as an election judge, which I'm very happy for and glad for. But just in wondering, does that mean that then the city office will be closed on the morning of election day when Mary is an election judge?
It will not, because we have Mary and Steve Heath, so the offices will be open.
Okay,
I think in the morning though,
Yep.
it may be closed.
You'll be running back and forth,
Or sitting.
or sitting up here, okay? All right.
so it may be closed in the morning. So again, just wanting to get notification of when the office is going to be closed.
Okay.
Last Thursday, my wife and I came to City Hall to request some information and found that the offices were closed. We had had called the City Hall number to check on office hours, and the message on the phone is still stating that Elizabeth Neely is the clerk treasurer, and that the office hours are Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 3:30. And so it was rather distressing to get here to find out that no, the offices were open 10 to 3, and that on that day, they were not open at all and they were closed. And so just if there could be a better system of letting us know when, it shouldn't be that we call to check on hours, but get here to find out that that's something different. So just some still big cracks to fill as we move forward. So just wanted to
Good point.
take note of those.
Great
things.
point, and we didn't have access to our telephone system until, just a couple of weeks ago when I notified on our last council meeting. So the actual voicemail message hasn't been changed because we have to go through the ONSIP process. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We have to go through the ONSIP process to either do it remotely or actually speak into it. And so that is forthcoming. We're working with the Bitworks on getting that done. And there was a sign in the doorway that the offices were closed on the Thursday and Friday. So if you came up, you would have seen that message.
Yes,
But it
I
should-
came
it
up
should
to
be-
find that they were closed.
Right.
Should
But
be
I
on the
had,
website.
I had also,
I'm just saying,
Over-
with the shortage of people,
I chose between two time-sensitive errands and chose to come to City Hall.
Sure.
And so I didn't get either one of them.
sure, no, I totally understand.
Okay,
Thank you,
very
Kevin.
much.
We
It
really
just
appreciate
makes us
that.
work
We'll
even
make
more.
sure that those get taken care of, and I agree. It should be on the website once we launch the new website.
Thank you.
So the next one that I have is Deb Juliet Pine. This is Park and Rec Bingo and Volunteer Opportunities. So welcome, Deb. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Welcome, Mary. I am here once again tonight, despite the fact that I'd rather be home watching Antiques Roadshow and looking after our new puppy while Larry is away on business in Chicago. But I know that someone needs to show up at the public forum with a positive attitude going forward with the business of our community. Someone who isn't shy of speaking in public needs to express the appreciation of many TF citizens for the hard work of our city council. It seems I am destined to be that someone. During this year's Swanigan Days, I helped with the Parks and Rec Commission bingo event. Thanks to the help of our new city clerk, Mary Thomas, I'm sorry, I say
Tom
her name.
Nitz.
Thomas, we were able to get access to the community center and locate bingo items as needed. And she's helping us set up a file with all the financials in it. Many thanks to Mike Chris, who dropped in to help set up tables and chairs on a very hot day. Kudos to the whole Hobson's family, Donald, Julie, Camille, and her boyfriend Charlie, who made refreshments, served them, helped on the bingo floor all night, and cleaned up. Finally, to the 2 council members, Larry and Mary, who shopped, set up, ran the bingo, and cleaned up. Because of all the efforts of these few people, the event netted $1,500 for the Parks and Rec. Over 100 local folks attended, played, laughed, and went away happy. Yesterday I had the always pleasant experience of hosting guests at our awesome Taylor's Falls Historical Society History Center. It's a great chance to present our town's past and present in the best light. Tomorrow, I'm so excited. I have the amazing opportunity to serve as an election judge for our local precinct. I'd like to express my appreciation to our city coordinator, zoning administrator, Steve Hatt, for his assistance in helping me become fully trained and informed regarding this position. I'm learning that in retirement, even a small place like Taylor's Falls has so many volunteer possibilities. I would encourage those with time on their hands to give it a try. Our council has had to make a lot of difficult, albeit necessary decisions this past year. They have done their due diligence even when it was not popular. I'm proud of the honesty, transparency, and patience that has been displayed by our councilpersons and mayor, even when they were unfairly and unjustly ridiculed at both these meetings and in the press. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, that's all of our public forum. Thank you for your comments. They're always appreciated. And just one thing for the public to note is that Steve Hath has returned. If you take the opportunity to stop by to talk to Steve, you'll notice very quickly why he's been gone for the last 2 months. He's lost 75 pounds with his battle, but he's doing well. So I'm gonna move on to the next item. I'm just gonna stay right on task here. The first one is always a fun one and one I appreciate. It's Lynn Longnecker. He's gonna update the city council on Wanigan Days. Lynn is former city council member, former mayor. I'm sure you wish you were still here.
Oh, yeah. I love those hot seats.
Always good to see you.
Of course, one person doesn't need a microphone. Anyhow, first of all, I get, like Deb said, I want to thank people that were involved in Wanigan Days. That includes the city maintenance crew did a bang-up job. The city looked great. Streets were closed, signs were posted, cleanup afterwards. Kudos to both them and the kids that helped. It was fantastic. Can't complain. Sauk County Sheriff's Officer, Shepik and Duncan did a great job, and the people that they had helping them. Taylor's Falls Lions Club and their help with the float, and then their corn and rod feed. Taylor's Falls Fire Department for help filling the dunk tank for the Lions Club, also for the car show and for the bags tournament. The search team, let's see, Representative from the search team is here. Thank them for their water, the info, and the closures of the streets. Couldn't do it without them. The Parks Department for doing their bingo. It all contributes to a good, exciting weekend. So it is my hope that the Falls Chamber will continue to work with these groups for a successful Wanigan Day celebration going forward. I'm not sure how that's gonna go because again, this is my last report as far as I'm concerned. I also wanna thank Dr. Bill Young for doing his announcing of the parade. I know he's been not doing well, but he's always Energizer Bunny and came down and did an excellent job. And also to Roger Bowman for PA system setup. And maybe for your PAs here, maybe talk to him, maybe he can get you set up.
Or new ones.
That's what he did for a living, so he'll be good. So, like I said, you still need somebody to represent somebody from the TF side. So I'm hoping that continues. As far as financially, so far we brought in $7,900 for the celebration. Our expenditures roughly right now are at $7,000. We do have a couple more expenses out there. One is like $500 to the Lions Club for maintenance and repair on the Wanigan float itself. I see that they are putting the final touches on. They cleaned it and they put a lacquer on it. It's down below here by the maintenance shed. It looks good. Also, hopefully for $1,000 or so to go, we'll see towards fireworks over the Falls Chamber. We so appreciate, because we see them just as well as St. Croix Falls side around the river. So financially, we need to find out where we sit. Hopefully, with the auditors going through and finalizing of the books, I'm hoping that, I'm gonna call it an enterprise fund was set up for the Wanigan Days, and so we have continuing balance from year to year. Right now, I'm unable to get that fund balance. And so I know where we kinda started off this year, and I know that we have money in the account. I just wanna know where we stand. I never got a report from the clerk, so I'm hoping that, that gets taken care of, what goes to the auditor, but I just don't want it to get washed into the general account.
It doesn't.
Crossing my fingers, so it gets a little frustrating not
Cross my
knowing where
heart,
it's at.
it will.
Okay. But other than that, that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions?
First of all, Lynn, I really want to thank you and Sandra for all your hard work. You're the ones who made the Wanigan Days on Taylor's Falls side happen. It wasn't that many years ago where it was really just a parade and also St. Joe's Eats, but that was Wanigan Days. And I remember a group of individuals started an ad hoc meeting, and we met probably half a dozen times. And I think that that's how things happen, is when, like Deb Julikine said, you have volunteers, they get involved, trying to help the city to do some good things, and that's where we saw it blossom. I watched the show from Hayward, the Lumberjack show was here one time, you have bands, it's an incredible event, thanks to you. I hope it doesn't go away or go back to where it's just a parade only. Although the parade this year was very nice, a little concerning on the St. Croix Falls side, because we did have a gentleman come out of the audience who was pretty angry and yelling and hollering, and I thought he was after Kirk, and Kirk thought he was after me, and it turns out he was after Kirk. And I thought we were gonna have to climb out of the car, but I kept yelling, it's a parade, have fun, it's just a parade. And I didn't throw him any candy because I didn't want to irritate him, but we were in a Corvette, so we got a very fast escape. But other than that, the parade on the Minnesota side was fabulous. Everybody was very friendly. I do have to admit, I'm very grateful that when I got to the very end of the route and I got out, people who know that this is my last term were shaking my hand, patting me on the back, telling me to hang in there, telling us that we've done a great job over the last 20 years. And for myself, that's really appreciated, but Wanigan Days is a big part of that. So thank you for your time and commitment.
I did forget to thank some people, and that's people who made generous donations to make it happen. The drive-in was donated thousands of dollars to get bands for Friday night, to Romaines and the Goat for providing the band and the stage. And just a lot of people make this work. It's just not, the easy work is that, getting it done. But it's, the money that's spent is just astronomical, and it's so appreciated. So we're hoping whoever we hand it out to, does the right things with it. So,
I think you gave us a lot of leverage when you trademarked the name.
Yes, that's true, because the name Wanigan Days belongs to the city of Taylor's Falls. It was trademarked. That was actually Sandra's idea. She called me and said, we better trademark the name before we lose it. I didn't even think of it, and so that name has been trademarked. Thank you for that, Sandra.
Well, yeah, that was one of our meetings. I said, who actually owns Wanigan Days? So that was.
Answer is we do.
I
Yeah.
remember those.
And we're willing to
We,
share it.
we need to own
Yeah.
it, and yes, and actually, working with St. Croix Falls is, we gotta do it together.
Yes.
It's not a one-sided story, so.
Do you have
If I
comments, Mary?
can,
No, I remembered when we were all at the meetings at the Burke's home and establishing that.
Yeah.
But I also did wanna mention, the sheriff would like to have some input next year when they set up the children's procession or the little kids parade before they had a difficult time closing it off, opening it again and closing it off. They wanna do it in one fell swoop, so whoever.
Right, and maybe, for the number of participants we have, it might be something that we don't have anymore. That's up to whoever does it next,
Exactly.
For
But
the 6 kids that we had or
I know.
whatever, it was very difficult to.
My babies came all the way from Maple Grove.
Yeah, well, it was appreciated, and we had some nice cute ones,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you hope for,
Yep,
when we were kids, it was 25 to 50 kids, and now you get 6 or 8 or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it's not the best place to do it at the time, but it's the only time we can get an actual audience,
Exactly. He's thinking maybe just a half an hour later, so that it
Okay.
coincides and keeping it fully flowing.
Flowing. Okay.
So that's something to take back for next year.
Other comments? Troy?
Lynn, I wanna thank you again for all your help.
Oh,
You were
yeah.
doing this before I even got here, I think, so. And then I do wanna take this opportunity to, share your concern about fund balance for Wannaga Days and ask again. And I have asked in the past and it has come through, but I think all the council members and the public should have a treasurer's report showing fund balances, every month. The last one we got was February, so I do wanna officially request that again. So not only, Wannaga Days, but all our commissions and everybody else, all our departments can have a fund balance that they know what it is and how it's changed.
We'll get there.
You said fund, not fun.
Right.
No, not a fund.
Wannagan Days is a
Yeah.
fund balance.
You know?
So,
Ross, comments?
No, I just want to say thank Lynn and all the volunteers. It's a huge undertaking to organize everything and put it together. And you've been involved with Taylor's Falls projects for years, and do appreciate your effort.
thank you.
Ross.
Speak up.
Speak up.
Sorry.
There you go.
I thought you said, I forgot you. Anyway, yeah, so everyone involved, I think it's great that we spend
Thank
time
you.
with it.
Well, you couldn't do it without the people behind you to help you, so
Yep.
that's what made it easier.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yep.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm on to the next item. This is a resolution. It's appointing election judges for the 2022 elections. And Kevin is correct. We should have done this sooner. I'm not gonna blame anybody. Unfortunately, with staff out, that's kind of what happens. We've fallen behind. The good news is with Steve back in the office and Mary here full-time, I think we'll make some progress. So the resolution, it's on the next page here in the report. It's resolution 220801. So my question is, does the language look good in the resolution? Everybody comfortable with it? I do want to thank the election judges. They are Rebecca Kennedy, Diane Deaton, Catherine Johnson, Tana Havamaki, Deb Julich-Hine, Priscilla Peterson, Carol Schumann, Kevin Schumann, Kelly Swanson, Scott Swanson, Kim Zittelman, and Sandra Berg. So thank you for your time. It's very generous because you've got a primary and a general election. So if everybody's comfortable with the resolution, I'll call for a motion to approve. It is resolution 220801, which appoints our election judges for 2022. So motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve
Thank you, Troy.
220801.
Got it. And
Second.
second by Ross. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I'm on to the next item. This says water license acquisition. I know that this is Ross, your personnel liaison, you and Larry, so it's all you since Larry's not here.
Yep. Anyway, what we do is every time somebody accomplishes a milestone, if you wanna call that, in their job performance, which with Paula was getting a water license when he started.
We
out.
really can't hear Ross.
When he started out, you gotta keep after me. When he
will.
started out, he didn't have his license, and since then, he's gone to education, taken the test and passed it. So now he's a licensed, Minnesota State Water License. And what I'm recommending, Ann Larry, is that he receives an hourly rate of $1.50 for his accomplishment. And I'd like to say, I'm pretty sure Mike Chris said he passed it out.
He did.
Which is fantastic. So anyway, that's what I'm recommending in Larry, that we give him a raise because of his accomplishment and getting his water license.
Okay, Mary, comments on this?
No, and it's not a precedent being set, is anybody who has been a staff here, when they succeed in getting a license, they do get a bump on their salary.
Okay, that's $60 a week more, just in case anybody's wondering. Troy, comments on this?
No comments, congratulations, Paul.
Okay, so with that, I need a motion then to approve the pay increase request. It comes from our Public Works liaisons, Ross and Larry, and it is for Paul Stenger. It is an amount of $1.50 per hour, and that is effective.
Beginning of this pay period.
Okay,
So be beginning of this month.
are you able to do that okay, Mary?
Yes, I am.
Got it. So I've got the motion out there. Do I have a second? Pardon me, do I have a motion? So Mary's making the motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Ross, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm writing my notes and saying them.
I know that. Okay, so the next item that we have, this is a contract with MnDOT. And, you know, unfortunately, the only thing that I received is what everybody else did, which was a resolution. And as soon as I got it, I contacted MnDOT and said, I gotta have a contract. And so, fortunately, today, they provided me with a contract. And so I've read the contract, because I've had time to read the contract. Nobody else here really has probably had time. But I'll just give you in kind of a nutshell on this, that the city has had a contract with MnDOT for multiple years. The purpose of the contract is, and this one is kind of a standard one, or some people would call it a boilerplate. All cities use this contract, well, not all, but cities of our size. The purpose of it is, you know, during a construction of state-funded projects where there's a requirement to inspect the concrete or the asphalt, MnDOT provides the inspectors, but then they bill the city for it. And so we have to have a contract in order to do that. The other thing is salt. If the city decides to buy a load of salt, which we do not like using in our city because we're so close to the river, we've got to have a contract. So it seems like every time we want to do something with MnDOT, borrow the rubber tire loader, which they've said go ahead, we have to have a contract. Similar to with Obdo, in order for them to do additional services, we needed a contract. So here we are tonight with a resolution and a late notice on a contract, which is the State of Minnesota Master Partnership Contract. It is multiple pages long, and so we have two options tonight, Council. We can approve it and say it's expired, and it actually expired, every June it expires. They just notified us in the last couple of weeks, and we've never used the services. So in the last 20 years that I've been here, we've contracted every 5 years and we never use the service. But if we ever decide we need to, we can go ahead and execute it without having to bring it to council and actually approve the contract then. Within the resolution, it talks about designating a representative. It's typically your city engineer who will charge us for that service. However, we happen to have a city engineer who sits on staff with over 30 years of experience. So we do also have the ability, and I requested that Patrick Kelly and Chad Lemons put the verbiage in there that says we can use our own city engineer, Steve Hath, if we choose to. Or we could say, no, we don't want to. So the options tonight, we can change this resolution. We can table it and say we need more time to read the contract. The good news is there's no rush on this because we're not using their services. So Ross, you are big into the paving and projects like that. Any comments on this? Do you want to just table it? Do you want to move forward? I'm going to be comfortable with what council wants to do tonight, so.
Because it's just kind of a standard boilerplate that all cities get. I think we should just approve it. If anyone else does want to table it, that's fine too.
Okay.
They won't modify it just for our city. It's
Correct.
kind of a, like we say, boilerplate that everybody gets.
Yeah, it's really the resolution that we'd be looking at as far as who the individual is who actually executes the work order.
Yep.
So, Troy, comments on this?
Well, I was concerned too, because it's very short notice.
Yeah.
And I didn't, just so you know, the agenda posting saying we haven't used this in 20 years, last 20 years have never been used, was more disconcerting, actually, to me.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Jake Guzik, a city engineer, the company.
Yep.
And I think it's important, it'll just take a couple minutes, but I want to share a little bit of what he said.
Sure.
Because some of this verbiage was all new to me.
Engineering talk.
Right. The master partnership contract, see attached, which is what we have now. This one has Chisago City on it, so I'm guessing we'll change that.
Yes.
Obviously. It's a boilerplate contract between MnDOT and local agencies, like the city of Taylor's Falls. The most common application of the contract is during construction of state-funded projects where there is a requirement to inspect and concrete or bituminous?
Yep, I say asphalt.
Okay. Plants, it says, MnDOT provides the inspectors and services charges since the city does not typically have state-funded projects. An expedited situation, I asked him what that would be. An expedited situation would be in the event a contractor wants to pour concrete on short notice.
Yep.
With this contract, we would not have to wait until the council meeting to approve it. So this is something that the state could do, without the council's approval, and I think people should be made aware of that. The previous contract expired, so it's basically a renewal. It is Jake's understanding that Bolton and Mink would be able to execute work orders. However, this is typically after a specific request for services has been made and approved by the council. So the council still has to approve most of these, contracts when they come through. The other thing I wanted to point out was in the master contract, there are a couple things. One is, it sounds like this contract will be effective July 1st, 2022.
Yeah, so we're backing up.
So, yeah, just a little bit, right. And it will expire on June 30, 2027, so this is a 5-year contract. Payment basis, unless otherwise agreed to by the parties prior to performance of the services, the state will charge the other party, that's us, the state's then current rate for performing the technical services. Something to keep in mind. Emergency services. A party may provide aid upon request of the other party in the event of a man-made disaster, natural disaster, or other act of God. When a need is identified, the state and the other party will discuss the proposed work and the resources needed to perform the work. So there is an obligation there to discuss this with the council, or the representative that we have. If a party desires to perform such work, the parties will negotiate the specific and detailed work of the task. The requesting party will pay the providing party as specified in the work order. Another thing to remember, the states, this is from the contract template. The state's authorized representative for this matter, this master contract is the district state engineer. The other party's authorized representative for administering this master contract is the other party's engineer. So that would be the engineer that we have on. So we might have a discussion there, right?
Yes.
Whether it's the
Bolton and
company.
Mink.
Right.
Correct.
Or the individual that we have.
Correct.
And the only other thing I wanted to point out is this references 3 statutes, 3 state statutes. One is on the commissioner's powers and duties, so this would be the state. I didn't see anything there that I felt I needed to mention, but on 471.59, the residency requirements. So the residence requirements for holding office in any governmental unit shall not apply to any officer appointed to carry out any such agreement. So there's no residency requirement for the officer that's chosen. And then there is also a joint exercise of police power, so keep that in mind. If that were necessary, that's something this contract would call for. Other than that, and I think I should mention this too. 161.20, this is another statute. This is on property acquisition agreements and contracts. So, the power of the commissioner, so the commissioner who's chosen, will have the power to acquire by purchase, gift, or condemnation, replacement sites for historically significant buildings or structures. So that's something else to keep in mind. So I want to just make everybody aware of that. I'm going to approve this, but I think we needed to fill some holes. Yeah,
So are you saying you think we should move ahead with approving it?
I think we should.
Okay.
I think we should.
All right, thank you, Troy. Mary, comments on this?
Only that this is the first time in 12 years that I've seen something come across our desk, and having it just presented to us today is, I'm a speed reader, but I didn't get through the whole contract right now,
You
but.
couldn't read 14 pages?
No,
and-
I couldn't.
Okay.
But I do feel that all of this it's never been really come to pass, but if it does, I think we should move forward on signing the contract.
Okay, sounds good. So the resolution is on the next page. Is everybody comfortable with the verbiage that we have in the resolution? Okay, hearing that, I'm gonna call for a motion to approve Resolution 220802, which approves the State of Minnesota Master Partnership contract with the City of Taylor's Falls. So do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
All right, Ross, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Troy. A second. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we're on to the next area. This is sidewalk on First Street, and I think, as council knows, we've been working on the sidewalk on First Street for a number of years, slowly working our way up the hill. We started out all the way down by the Springs Inn, and we tend to do it in sections, which is expensive. But this is something that Mary Murphy, as Public Works Liaison, will speak to. And then I know Ross used to be Public Works, and he's the one who was part of this project to start it, so it's only fair to let him give his 2 cents worth. So I'll start with Mary, if you're okay with that.
Yep, you can fill in any gaps.
Hey, go ahead, Mary.
The 2022 sidewalk project, will be continuing up the hill. It's a complete sidewalk replacement along First Street. There were 3 companies contacted, Lawrence Creek, J&S, and Grayley Concrete. Grayley did not respond, and Lawrence Creek came in, $5,000, less, and we've had experience with Lawrence Creek, and it's the recommendation of Mike Kriz. Now, just to give you some background, there are many pieces of concrete that are disturbed or destroyed, and it presents a hazard. So we would like to have this, for the safety of our folks in the city, to have this done. And I would follow the recommendation of Mike Kriz, our Public Works Super, to have this voted on tonight.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I do know that we have an individual, a former council member and mayor, that would be very happy to see this project done all the way up to the city hall. That's the individual. I'm not picking on you, Steve, but you're the one who started this years ago and brought to our attention just how bad the sidewalks are. And the sidewalk on First Street is really deteriorated because when the county replaced the curb and gutter, instead of replacing the entire sidewalk, they just came in a foot and they cut the sidewalk. And then they put in a new curb and gutter, leaving the city with the remaining sidewalk, which has been breaking down over the years. So that's the particular area. Ross, go ahead. What do you have to add to this?
Pretty much what you said, yeah, that piece they put in there, it moves differently than the rest of the sidewalk, it creates little steps almost all the way up and down the hill. More and more people in town are walking, which is good. And I just hate to see somebody trip and fall and into themselves because we didn't do the due diligence in replacing it when it was necessary.
Okay.
And I'm 100% for it, I think it needs to be done. To continue to wait doesn't achieve anything. So, anyway, 100% for it.
Okay. One last question that I have before I go to Troy. How are we gonna pay for this?
Oh, let me mention this also, I forgot to realize that they're gonna be putting ADA compliant ped ramps on the corners so that we can get whoever is challenged up the hill and down. I believe we have, there's a sidewalk fund, and I believe we have a balance of $6,000 in that fund.
Okay.
And the rest would be probably coming out of the general fund.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Troy, comments?
Yeah, I walked this last night. I did see one chip, a pretty good sized chip. And I moved the fence. The fence is rusted at the bottom, but the fence does not move. I just, with the combination of the sidewalk and and the fence, we will be spending $100,000 tonight.
Cool.
Sidewalk. So it's 55,000 for the sidewalk and 50,000 for the railing. And I do want to commend the mayor, for the respect you showed in the budget workshop and his consideration for the upcoming council, that he was concerned about the balances and everything, and what he's gonna leave the next council with. And with that same philosophy and that same concern, I'm gonna be opposed to this. I understand that materials are very expensive right now. Everything has gone up. But I just think this is a project that could certainly wait, and I think I would rather have that $100,000 available to the next council. And then again, I would like to know what some of our fund balances are, because we said 6,000 in the sidewalk fund,
Yes.
right, Mary? And then what do we have in the general fund?
I'm not positive, but that's the only fund we can.
Probably know well over
Mary?
$400,000.
Yeah, 400.
Yeah, because we just received.
And see, this is some of the information council members should have and the public should have before we make decisions like this. So, I will be opposed to it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. And so I got two people that are saying, yes, I want this. Are you still in that, yes, I want to do this now category? Okay, I see where this is headed. I'm gonna call for a motion then to approve and award the contract to Lawrence Creek Contracting. It is to complete the sidewalk project. It is along First Street. It is at a cost of $50,313.15. This is aside from the railings. It will be paid for from our sidewalk fund. Balance will come from the general fund. And the location of this replacement is laid out in the scope from the proposal from Lawrence Creek Construction. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Ross, do I have a second?
Second.
By Mary, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Opposed? Thanks.
Motion carries 3-1. Thank you. Now we're on to the next one. This is another expensive project. I think this is Mary and the railing.
Yep.
So go ahead, Mary.
And let me get this here. Again, we fall into the category of, I would rather spend money to prevent an accident than not to spend money at all and charge the city for something that wasn't managed earlier. And since our funds are high in the general fund, it makes sense to try to do this year. And I would recommend the First Street railing. The railings are made specifically to a site specification. So there is only one company that does this. And it was sent out to several people to do it, and Mike Chris got back. The railing along First Street has been deteriorating for many years. Despite repairs and paint updates, it's at this point is unsafe and needs to be replaced. Attached is a proposal for a custom-built railing that matches the new railing replaced along Bench Street. So it's the same company that bought the company that did it on Bench Street. So I'm in the inclination, like I said, I'd rather protect the citizens of our community than have an accident. And I would make a recommendation on Chris' behalf to have this done.
Okay, and here's my next question is, where's the money gonna come from?
All right, again, that one is a general fund,
All of it from the general fund?
all of it from the general fund.
Don't we have?
Oh, we have a special projects fund for 20,000. I would like to take 20,000 out of the special projects fund, because this was actually, I forgot about that. This was actually on the agenda for many years, the sidewalk and the railings. And what I'd like to use is 20,000 of the, special projects fund and the balance of 30,000 for, the general fund, from the general fund.
Oh. All right, Ross, comments?
I agree, it's kind of a safety issue, the bottoms are rotting out. They're not falling down yet, but it's just a matter of time. You know, if you go along every so many totally rotted off, I mean, they're not even touching the ground in some
Right.
spots. So anyway, it gets back to the safety issue. I think we should spend the money, and take care of the issue, because it's, same thing, as we go down the road, it's gonna get worse steadily.
Okay, boy, we're in spending mood tonight. Troy, I probably could have just recorded what you said from the last time. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, same, I'm opposed to this, and I did walk it last night, and it's rusted because of the salt, right? That's used on the road, and it's plowed over. And the other reason there might be damage to the sidewalk is, we should be brushing that sidewalk, we shouldn't be plowing it with, grade. Now, I don't know how it's being done, but those chips, the 2 chips that are in the sidewalk are pretty big. I'm also concerned about safety. I don't want people falling. In fact, the Bench Street fence was fantastic, and you could drop 15 to 20 feet. This one, I think, is about a 2-foot drop. And so I would be concerned if it did move, but right now it's not moving, and I still think we can certainly wait on this. It's $50,000 for a fence.
So I've got one individual who says no. Has he changed your mind?
Not at all,
No? And you're
because
so-
there are neighbors close to me that
Okay.
the drop is more than 4 feet.
That'd be by Chestnut first.
Yes.
So, no, I understand. And I wouldn't even want to fall 2 feet, so. Okay, I see where this is going, once again. So I'll call for a motion to approve the bid from Smith Portable Welding. The purpose is to remove the old railing and replace 660 feet of new railing. It is along First Street and the entire section of First Street. So we're replacing. This will be paid for from
Hold it.
our.
Please hold it. I wish we had 120 tapes, but we don't. Yeah, exactly.
The tape doesn't automatically reverse itself, fortunately.
There you
So
go.
when we replace the sound system, I would recommend we put in a decent recording system too, so. Okay, so, it is paid for from our special projects fund with the balance from our general fund. So do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
By Mary, I have a second.
Second.
By Ross, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 3-1. Boy, you guys are spending down the general fund that we've worked really hard to build up. So, but Steve will be happy, no railings and,
Got a question.
go ahead, Steve.
Okay, right down at the Springs Inn of, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years ago, the truck backed into that railing, broke off at least 15 feet for sure. Now, when you put in the new railing, are they gonna specify to start from where that old railing started?
That's actually gonna be Mike Chris, who's gonna help them show him in the starting point, taking into consideration that somebody ran over a section of that fence years ago. Because it shouldn't go back in the same location, they'll just run it over.
Right.
They were supposed to get insurance money for it, but I don't know if they ever did.
Not sure. Okay, I'm on to the next area. This is a municipal permit checklist. This is Troy, if you kind of walk us through.
Right, this is a resident suggestion that I wanted to bring forward
Yep.
for a checklist for permits, so building permits or all the permits that the city has. This would be a checklist that not only city staff could use, but the residents could have to make sure they have everything they need to obtain a permit. The city staff could have everything they need to make sure everything is here and available for that to expedite the process. So my reasons would be, some of the reasons listed for this would be a list of requirements and documents necessary to file a permit with the city of Taylor's Falls. The checklist should be available to city staff and the residents. The checklist will facilitate permit application process for residents and city staff. All city permits should have a checklist including but not limited to building permits, gambling permits, lodging permits, including Airbnb, community center, all rental permits for development, and then I would like to add candidate registration checklist is also necessary for both the candidate and city staff to register city council candidates. So that is my suggestion, is that something I would hope that the city staff could put together in the next couple of weeks and have ready for, to utilize.
Okay. Good recommendations, Troy. I'm not sure if they can have it ready in the next couple of weeks, since they're working on other items like elections and fund balances, which we're kind of backing into.
And water bills.
So, yeah, and water bills. So, and Banyan update and bank reconciliation, and we've got a lot of help from Opto, that's for sure. I think these are great ideas. Is this something that really needs council action, or is this something that the personnel liaisons could simply direct city staff to do? You want it to be a motion to do it, or how do you want it?
Oh, sure, I'll make a motion that we have a city, the staff liaisons
Okay.
implement this. We can go in the next month, you know, something like that. So
Okay, that's
I'll make a
cool.
motion that we pass a municipal permit checklist, implemented by staff liaisons to ask the city staff to have checklists ready for the municipal permits for the residents and city staff, checklist available.
Very good, thank you, Joy. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, I got a second from Ross. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
So I got 3 yeses, 1 no, that motion carries. And I'm on to the next item on here. This is a moratorium on edible, I can't even say it, it's THC. And this is something that was brought to my attention by our city attorneys. And what I'm told is that on July 1st of 2022, a new Minnesota law was passed that allows people 21 plus years old to buy and consume food and beverages with no more than 5 milligrams of THC servings and no more than 50 milligrams per package. And so what's been recommended, and I bounced this off from staff, is that the council should at least discuss tonight and consider a moratorium on the THC until our planning commission has had the ability to have a discussion to determine, should we do anything about it? Do we just let it happen and not worry about it? Do we put some type of zoning code amendments, develop some additional regulations? It's something that I thought was important enough to bring to the council to say, do we want to pass it to the planning commission and say, take a look at it and put a moratorium in place? Moratoriums can be typically anywhere from 6 to 12 months, but they can be removed quickly as well. You don't have to run them out 6 months. So it could be done in 30 days, depends upon the planning commission. So I brought it to the council just for discussion. I have no idea how everybody feels about it, so I'm gonna follow the direction of the majority. So, Troy, thoughts on this?
I would be comfortable with a 12-month moratorium.
Okay, sounds good. Ross, comments?
Yeah, I go with 12 months.
Okay, and Mary?
I'm totally against to have this kind of substance in our community, just basically from my 40 years experience at the Hazelton Foundation. However, because it has to be addressed, I would recommend that it be passed to the
Planning commission?
planning commission.
Okay,
Let them decide.
okay, and no matter what happens, you're gonna be a no vote on this.
Always.
So, okay, and I'm open to show me the information. So we have a resolution before us, 2022-01. It is a moratorium. It is on the sale of hemp derived from THC. So, resolution look good to everybody? Okay, with that, I'm gonna call for a motion then to adopt resolution or adopt the resolution 2022-01. We are imposing a 12-month moratorium on the sale of hemp-derived THC in the city of Taylor's Falls, and then further move to direct our planning commission to discuss the need for zoning code amendments, developing additional regulations if necessary, and other possible regulatory changes. So do I have a motion to approve this?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Troy. Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
By Ross. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
We have 3 to 1. It is approved. Thank you. Now we're on to the next item, which was added this evening. It was just an oversight. It is for consideration of a CUP request. It's for 418 West Street, which I see people smiling, so they're probably here. Sorry, we put you through to the end. You got the wonderful experience of a council meeting, and the filing is open right now for council seats and mayor, so if there's interest, you go for it, because there will be 3 seats that will be open for sure. So, Ross, you're the one from the planning commission that was part of the discussion, so why don't you kind of walk us through this?
We started 418 West Street, just a plan, or they're looking for a permit for B&B. It's, I say, 418 West Street.
Airbnb?
Or Airbnb, excuse me.
You don't wanna make them serve food.
Yeah, that's right, sorry. Anyway, at the planning commission, it was discussed thoroughly, and the planning commission made the motion that we approve it. There is a checklist of items that they have to, go by, which is pretty standard.
Finding of fact.
Yep, exactly, and, specific requirements too on it. But anyway, like I say, the planning commission did discuss it thoroughly, and everyone was in favor of it.
So there was a recommendation to the council from the planning commission to approve this.
Yeah, for 418 West Street.
Okay.
One at a time.
Got it. Comments on this, Troy?
Some comments, no comments at all, I said it was great, I'm encouraged by it.
Very good. Thank you, Troy. Mary?
I'm delighted.
Excellent, thank you. Best of luck with it. I always tell people, I hope you make $1 million. Exactly. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna call for a motion to approve the recommendation from our planning commission, and that is to approve the proposed conditional use permit at 418 West Street, and it is based on the 7 findings of fact that are listed. I'm not going to read them, but if the public wants them, they're here. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the last item on the agenda is we're considering another conditional use permit, same thing, different location. It is 855 River Street. Once again, this is Ross for the Planning Commission.
Let's say it's exactly the same as the other one was discussed. Let's say there's findings, facts, there is requirements. I'd like to say all of the people applying were well versed on this. They knew, they'd studied it a lot. They knew exactly what they're talking about. I was very impressed. And a lot of people come in and are looking for a permit and don't have a clue how it works. But, so anyway, yes, I'm all in favor myself as the planning commission on both of these. We're talking right now about the 855 River Street.
Okay, so the Planning Commission has a recommendation. They have their findings of fact. Comments on this, Mary?
Again, I'm thrilled. I've got some places where my family and relatives and friends can stay in the community.
Perfect. And Troy, comments?
No comments, congratulations, I'm encouraged by your involvement and your willingness to make, this is a great place, and I think the more people, we can accommodate here and show them what a beautiful area we have in Better Off Broad.
Excellent, thank you, Troy. I agree, and we're going to call for a motion then to approve the recommendation. It is from our Planning Commission. It is for the proposed conditional use permit for 855 River Street, and is based on the 7 findings of fact that are listed. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Ross. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That's all the business on the agenda. So, council, is there anything that needs to be brought up? Have we covered it all?
I have a couple round table issues.
Go ahead.
Get to that.
Sure, go.
Okay.
Go for it.
Some of these are citizens' requests, and maybe we can get some answers to. One is Taylor's Falls National Night Out is a different date than the rest of the nation, and why? When was it moved? What's the history behind that? We don't know.
No,
It's
we
not
do know.
us. It's
We do
not
know,
us.
because I talked to Principal Jason. Kevin knows this as well. I know that they used to meet as a group, have it on the first Tuesday. It's been changed to the third Tuesday to allow more people to attend this area. There were also some people that were angry because they felt that Taylor's Falls was stealing people from other areas. That was not the intent. And so they changed it. It allows for more activities in Taylor's Falls. It allows for the ambulance service, the Lifeline 3. They can come spend more time here because it's focused on Taylor's Falls and other areas. So,
Good.
is
I
that?
can
Thank you.
further
And-
address
and-
that, and
and-
that was, one of the reasons is that the school has been very active and involved in hosting the event, and the school is closed for the month of July. And so if it's on the first Tuesday of August, they have only been back for 2 days, and to get the school ready for 200 people to come and to be hosted there was a challenge for them, especially with many times having construction projects and not knowing the delay and things like that. So that's also why it was split, and the Baptist Church across the street is hosting the meal portion of it, and the displays, many of the community displays. And then the school is continuing to provide the hot dogs and many things for the lunch, and as well as the school staff is helping the church with, custodial care and things like that. So it's a very much a cooperative effort, but it enabled the school to be better prepared for it as well.
Thank you, Kevin. Mary, you had a comment?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that this is not a city-specific event. This is a school event, and we challenge ourselves to send volunteers. I volunteered many years for Hazelden to serve those foods. Barbara Nelson was a person who, Barbara Anderson was a person who actually coordinated all of this until we went into COVID, and she was always my right-hand gal. And without her, it's been difficult to get anybody together. So it's really nice that they're gonna do it this year, but again, this is not something that the city says yea or nay to. We offer what we can for this event.
It's actually
But
a
thanks.
cooperation between the school and the community and the church. I think it's a good thing. And the other thing Jason had told me was, all of the people walking across the gymnasium floor is really hard on their floor. So he was glad to move it over. So,
Yep.
correct?
The next item is I've got some good news, at least hopefully. Arrowhead Transit hopes to begin service here on January 1, 2023. So I have talked to both Julia Dupla and Tony Potter from Arrowhead Transit. They did a survey in the fall of 2021, and there was a strong interest in Taylor's Falls for their service. The results of that survey were submitted to MnDOT by Arrowhead Transit, probably either now or in just a couple weeks. But Julia is very optimistic because of the interest here in Taylor's Falls. Arrowhead Transit receives subsidies from state and federal government. Both Tony and Julia feel they've made a very strong case for including Taylor's Falls in their service area beginning 2023. I do encourage residents to call Julia if you would be interested in this, or if you know somebody else who would be interested in this transit service. If we increase demand, increase interest, we have a better chance of persuading MnDOT to receive the updated schedule that includes Taylor's Falls. So anyway, that's it, and please contact me. I've posted Julia's numbers on some places, some locations, but contact me if you'd like her number, get a hold of her, to let her know that you'd be interested. Lions Park North, the electricity is still out, however, it sounds like Excel has fixed the box or the transformer, it's all ready to go. From what I understand from the Lions, we just need somebody from the city, probably Public Works, to contact Excel and tell them to turn it on, basically. It might be that simple. That's secondhand information, but it's moving along, but we would like to get that, the Lions would like to get that done. And that will restore the light and light in the building there.
I'll take care of that for you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Heritage Park, I'm wondering about the bathroom and the ADA compliance. Were there any issues with that? Somebody brought that to my attention that it might not be ADA compliant.
You know, unfortunately, after it was delivered, we should have roped it off, and so that people didn't have access to it, but actually we did kind of partition it off, and there was vandalism to tear it all down. So was it ADA compliant? No, it is not.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in place, everything is done.
Oh,
So it
okay.
is ADA compliant.
Was there an additional cost for that? To
For-
make it ADA compliant?
The concrete is gonna be an additional cost.
And how much? Do we know?
Don't have that
So
information.
that's coming?
It
to
is,
us?
it is. Yep.
Okay, and then with EDC, I contacted Dmitry Tomasevich. He's the East Area Engineer with MnDOT. He would like to come here on September 12th, which I guess would be our next meeting, to discuss the Osceola Bridge project. Just give us an update on what it is, or where it's at. Right now, it's in the design phase, 2023 to 2025 is the design phase. They are planning on construction 2025 to 2026. But I do have some people wondering how it will affect the traffic here in Taylor's Falls when it's under construction. He's willing to come here on the 12th and give us a PowerPoint presentation, update us on the project and how it will affect the traffic. And he also let me in on something that the St. Croix Bridge is scheduled within 10 years, next 10 years. The reason we talk about this because some residents had wondered if, since they're working on the Osceola Bridge project, and they need to facilitate traffic here in Taylor's Falls, maybe that'd be a good time to look at the intersection, right? To just make it better, not only for the bridge project, but going forward. Some people talk about a roundabout, some people say some other things, but that was one of the things that was discussed. Now, where he did say for the Osceola Bridge project, we're probably missed the mark for something like that. He did think that when we do St. Croix Bridge, when they do that in 10 years, that might be something they should think about, is facilitating the traffic in the intersection, not only for the construction time, but after it's done. So Dimitri has just asked me to get him some contact information. I can certainly do it too, but he wants to know who he can contact here in the city to basically get on the agenda.
Sure.
So he can speak.
I'd recommend having contact staff, is fine, or yourself, put it on either way. The bridge project, are they completely removing the bridge for Osceola? Putting in a brand new bridge?
I believe they were, but I don't
Yes.
know for sure. I don't know. Does anybody know?
Okay.
They're gonna
Yes.
move it.
All right, they are, okay, very good. Anything else?
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good council meeting, thank you all for your time, I know you're very busy. Sandra?
I noticed tonight when Brian and I were driving around that there's a light standard down by the community center that's all but falling down. To me, that's another,
Hazard. I can
Hazard,
take a look.
yes.
Have Mike Chris take a look. Is that at the community center?
pardon me?
At the community center?
Yeah, it's right across from the,
Oh, that's been down for years. I know what you're talking about.
well, shouldn't it be fixed?
And it's
We'll have somebody
Yeah,
look into
it's,
that.
it's Excel.
I do appreciate when residents tell us
I
this is
do.
broken, this is run into,
Yes.
this is burnt out.
I think it
Well,
should be
we don't know
fixed.
I
in
do
some
too,
cases, so
but I
thank
didn't
you
get a
for that.
chance to run around with me.
Okay, go ahead.
I may or may not be here for our September meeting, because I'm expecting my third granddaughter.
Okay.
So she's due that time.
Okay,
So I may be here.
sounds good, thank you. Ross, anything?
The Airbnb, the planning commission is gonna review that in about a month.
Okay.
Go through it, because there's really not much in the ordinances on it.
Okay,
So we wanna literally start over, look at other cities, and, sorry, we wanna look at other cities, see what they have, and, you know, literally create one, that meets, all the requirements of our design guidelines and everything else like that, so.
if you know of one city that actually has a restriction of 50%, 50% of the homes in the city can be Airbnb. Don't know where the number came from, I just found it interesting, so. Anything else, Ross?
That's it.
Perfect, so with that, I will thank you again for your time, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned, thank you.